MixTV.tv high school football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. I am Ryan Lovelace, joined by Derek Morris and Brittany Jackson. Unfortunately, Drew Linus is not here. We had some, trouble matching up our schedules, but we got his picks, and not to jump ahead, because we got a lot of games in the area, a lot of teams coming off a bye week with fall break last week. So we got a full slate. We have 9 games, all of them going down tomorrow night. 6 games outside of Bradley County, and then once again we have all 3 of our teams playing. But first, we're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about our 6 games sort of outside of the Bradley County area.
We've got McCallie at Father Ryan tomorrow night at 7 p.m. McCallie 5-2 in the season. They lost to Father Ryan in 2020, so this is a pretty big rival game. Father Ryan, on the other hand, coming off a loss at Clarksville, a basketball score, 62-55. So both of those teams, putting a lot of points up on the board. But they lost to McCallie last year, so I think they're going to be motivated, obviously, for McCallie to come in there and give them a good game. But I think we've got a good game on our hands tomorrow night at Father Ryan.
All right, we're up on Hurricane Hill. You have Friendship Christian Academy against the East Hamilton Hurricane. So East Hamilton comes off a big win against Saudi Daisy, winning 42-0. They're 5-2 overall, 4-0 in district. But Friendship, who we probably know nothing about, is not real friendly with their defense because they've given up 6 points all year. They're 7-0. They beat Webb 2 weeks ago, 42-7. So it looks like East Hamilton will have their hands full.
Yeah, another team that will have their hands full is Howard. They are hosting Ray County at 7 p.m. That is a region game for Ray County. They're coming off a loss against Elizabethton, 35-28. Ray County is 1-6 on the year. It's their first losing season since 2018. Meanwhile, Howard, it's more of the same for them. They're 1-7 this year, 0-2 in region play. They've been shut out in half of the games they've played this year. They're coming off a loss at Notre Dame. So one of these teams is going to get their second win. That's tomorrow night at Howard at 7 p.m.
Baylor, coming off a loss last week, is headed to Hendersonville tomorrow night at 7 p.m. They, as I mentioned, they lost to Prince Avenue Christian 42-35. They're 6-1 in the season. They beat Hendersonville 41-35 last year. So Hendersonville, on the other hand, coached by James Beasley, they won against Shelbyville 40-34. A lot of these teams putting a lot of points on the board. But they're 3-4 in the season, and this will only be the second meeting ever against Baylor. So, I think it's going to be a tough one for them, but Baylor does have to travel. So.
Another region game is Polk County at Marion County. So Polk County had a bye week last week. They lost before that to Meigs County 20-0. And they've lost 3 straight to Marion County. Marion County also coming off a bye week. They beat Tellico the week before that in a middle school basketball score of 62-14 and on a 3-game win streak. So you have one team it looks like they're headed in different directions as you come into that region game.
Yeah, so closing out our slate of outside of the area games, we have Ooltewah hosting Saudi Daisy. Another battle of one-win teams. Ooltewah 1-6 on the year. They come in off a tough loss at Bradley Central, 45-0. They've been shut out 5 times this season in 7 games, so the offense has struggled for Ooltewah. Meanwhile, Saudi Daisy, they're coming off a 42-0 loss at East Hamilton. They're 1-6 on the year, and they've scored more than 10 points twice this year in 7 games. So 2 teams whose offenses have struggled, fighting for their second win. That is at Ooltewah tomorrow night at 7:30. Those are our 6 games from outside of Bradley County, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the 3 games in Bradley County, and all of them are very good region matchups. We're also going to catch up on, Cleveland and Walker Valley's games from 2 weeks ago because we didn't get to talk much about them last week. You're watching the MixTV.tv high school football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. We'll be right back.
We're here at Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland.
We are here with great service.
We're here. We're here.
We're here.
We're here with great deals.
We're here for you.
So come get huge Nissan savings when you shop Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland and Cleveland-Nissan today. Home of the exclusive lifetime warranty.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland, 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
So Lynn, tell me about your experience at Chattanooga Auto Square.
We have been thrilled with the service, and we wouldn't dream of shopping anywhere else.
They take the time to show you everything and work with you. The salespeople there were excellent.
It's been good working with him and also with the people in service.
I'm sure he lives here.
And that is correct.
Chattanooga Auto Square. Luxury lives here.
Hands. You might think they're just for waving, but they can be used for all kinds of things, like making made-from-scratch biscuits at Hardee's.
Bite into the new 2 for $5 breakfast deal only at Hardee's.
Remember Me Senior Care is Cleveland's first assisted living and memory care neighborhood. They specialize in assisted living for those who are still active, with a community of indoor and outdoor activities. They also provide memory care living for those who are facing life with dementia. Learn more online at remembermesc.com or call their office and set up an in-person visit at 423-473-3140. Remember Me Senior Care, a culture of care your loved one deserves.
Wholesale Supply Group, you've heard the name for years. The experts trust them, and you should too. Whether you're building, remodeling, or just maintaining your home, Wholesale Supply Group has all the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC products you need to supply any project. With great brands like Delta, Kohler, Rinnai, Mansfield, Progress Lighting, Square D, GE, and Milwaukee, Wholesale Supply has everything you need. Check out the locations in Cleveland, Chattanooga, Athens, Dayton, Madisonville, Dalton, and Chatsworth. Online, wholesalesupply.us. And remember, Wholesale Supply is open to the public.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
Welcome back to the MixedTV.tv high school football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. Ryan Lovelace still joined by Derek Morris and Brittany Jackson Tucker. And guys, we have 3 full games here in Bradley County. 2 of them are home games, Cleveland and Bradley, and then Walker Valley's traveling to McMinn. So 3 games in very close proximity to us. And we're going to start with Cleveland hosting Bearden. Big region game, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And just getting down to the thick of it, Cleveland, if they lose, they're basically done from the playoffs. The only way Cleveland can lose and still make the playoffs is if Maryville loses out to Hardin Valley and Bradley, which the chances are slim. So must win for Cleveland. Same way for Bearden, because the way the region's set up, it's Maryville, Bradley, Farragut, and then it's Bearden and Cleveland for the 4th spot. So huge game with a lot of playoff implications. Cleveland, they're coming in off a bye week. Before the bye week, if you haven't heard, they beat Maryville 28-24. Huge upset, Maryville's first region loss in over 22 years. Meanwhile, Bearden, they're also coming off a bye week. Previously, they beat Bradley Central at home 21-7. Big win over Bradley Central. They held Bradley's very injured offense to only 7 points, which is still pretty impressive. Cleveland's 4-3, 1-2 in region. Bearden's 5-2, 2-1 in region. Derek, just coming to you first before we dive into this game. Cleveland, Maryville, I mean, 2 weeks ago, is it still shocking to you?
I mean,
well, you didn't pick them. So.
I did not pick them.
Shocking.
I did not pick them. I should have picked them.
To let you know one more time.
I did not pick them. It's shocking, but in a good way. I mean, Cleveland has had a lot of talent for many years, and they were able to kind of piece everything together that game and not make the big mistake. They're known in close games, a.k.a. Bradley, make a big mistake at the end. So in this case, they did not make the big mistake, and Maryville did. They took the 3 points off the board. They were able to score a touchdown in the game. So, Cleveland is looking to finish that out. Bye weeks sometimes are the great, and sometimes are terrible. For Cleveland, I think it was great because they could ride that high of a Maryville win and not have to focus on Bearden yet, and have a whole week of fall break and being excited, and then they plug back in after fall break to get ready for Bearden. So I think that bye week was perfect for them.
So, Brittany, talking about the bye week, I mean, it kind of lets you soak up in the, beating Maryville, sort of that glory. But do you have to flush that out of your minds before going into this Bearden game, or do you go in with sort of the confidence that you beat Maryville?
I think, that gave Cleveland a lot of confidence. They needed that. They needed going into Bearden. So as Coach mentioned, I think it is good for them to have that, 2 weeks to enjoy that, get, they're confident. They've got some confidence. They just beat Maryville. No one expected them to do that. So, I think it's good for Cleveland. I think they're going into this game with a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence, but they capitalized off of Maryville's mistakes, and that's what they've got to do with Bearden and just play their game. And I think it'll be a good game.
So, Derek, the Maryville win kind of turns the season around just on paper, but if you lose tomorrow night, you're missing the playoffs, which sort of throws the season in another 180. So how do you prepare for essentially a playoff game in the regular season?
Yeah, I was talking to some of the coaches, and that's exactly what they said. They don't want their highlight of the entire year to beat Maryville. That's a highlight, but they don't want it to be the only highlight. So they were really focusing on Bearden. They said they've been working really hard. That's exactly what they're preaching is this is our playoff game this week.
So meanwhile, Brittany, lastly on this matchup, Bearden, they beat Cleveland last year, but they missed out on the playoffs. They were the 5 and Cleveland was the 4. I mean, how big of a chip do you think is on the shoulder of those guys coming into this game with a chance to secure their playoffs?
Oh, for sure. They've got a chip. And also they want to come in. It's Cleveland's homecoming. And, they know that Cleveland is going to be, determined to you obviously want to win on your homecoming night. So I think that they're going to come in with an attitude and give Cleveland, a really good game. And it's going to be a tough one to pick.
Yeah, so Cleveland versus Bearden tomorrow night, 7 p.m. You can listen to it on Mix 104.1. On Talk 101.3, you can listen to Bradley hosting Farragut. That is also at 7 o'clock, and this is also a region matchup. Both these teams most likely will make the playoffs, but a win would make it official. A Cleveland loss would make both teams would secure the playoffs for both teams regardless of the outcome. But Bradley, they're coming in off a win versus Ooltewah, 45-0. They're 6-1 on the year, 2-1 in region play. Meanwhile, Farragut, they're 5-2 on the year, 2-1 in region play, coming in off a bye week. Before that, they beat Hardin Valley by 5 touchdowns. A big region game when it comes to seeding because these two teams are fighting for that second spot in the home playoff game. So, Derek, how important is it to finish as that 1 or 2 and be able to host a playoff game?
Oh, that's huge. When you can stay home for any playoff, it's a big plus. You're playing a lower seed, so both of them want this. This is not a playoff game for them in the fact that they're in, but this is very important for both of them as far as playoff and the seeding. And Bradley's tough. They have somehow squeezed blood out of the turnip all year.
Yeah.
6-1, with everybody hurt. But of course, Farragut's same boat, 5-2 and playing well. So this is another game that's going to be really tough to pick.
So, Brittany, I was talking with one of Bradley's coaches. They're on their 4th string running back. They're missing their Mike linebacker for the year. A lot of holes on the team. How do the Bears sort of embrace that next man up mentality? I mean, they're ranked 5th in the state in 6A, but how do they embrace that next man up mentality when it comes to this game against Farragut?
Yeah, this is when people are hurt and you're deep in the season. This is when your 3rd and 4th strings are, they have to step up. And that's what you just have to hope as a coach, that these players are ready and they step up. Bradley is playing hurt. I think that was tough. That's what they went to Bearden, lost last week. Had a pretty, easy game over Ooltewah. So I think it's, Coach Floyd does a great job at keeping them ready, but you can't play for them. So it's like those 3rd and 4th strings, they've really got to step up, and this is when they become crucial. That's why you say it takes a team to win, and it does.
Yeah. So talking about this matchup, both these teams 2-1 in the region. Another team that's 2-1 in the region is Maryville. So Bearden also 2-1. So Region 2 6A is wide open for the 1 through 4 spot. I mean, we were talking about a scenario earlier where Cleveland could somehow squeeze out a region championship. So you mentioned very important game for seeding and hosting a home playoff matchup. That is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You can listen to it on Talk 101.3 The Buzz. And moving on to arguably the biggest game in local action, Walker Valley's traveling to McMinn County, and this is a region championship game. The winner claims the Region 4 5A crown. Walker Valley, it's been a rough season for them, 3-4, but a win brings you back to 500 and you win the region, so you can't really complain too much. Meanwhile, McMinn County, rough start. They've won 3 in a row. They're coming in off a win versus Sweetwater. Meanwhile, Walker Valley, 2 weeks ago, they beat Ray County 25-14 to put them in this spot. So big region championship game up at McMinn County. What are you looking at for this one?
So Walker Valley has been that team that we've kind of talked about that's just roller coastered all year. At one point we said they were the best team in the area, and then they lost 3 in a row. So you don't know what to expect with Walker Valley sometimes. But like you said, what you're preaching, I'm sure Coach Linus would say this is, it doesn't matter what happened, because now you win this, you win the region. So they hold their own destiny. So that's all you ask for as a coach with your team. McMinn County, they started off really bad, and they have been on the upswing for 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. So, it's again, really tough game to pick.
Yeah. So, Brittany, for both these teams, after this week, essentially nothing matters, except when it comes to your record looking better or worse. I mean, do you treat this game as sort of like the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl, the culmination of everything, since it's for that region championship game, or are you just treating it like any other game?
No, I think so. I mean, I think this is, very important game for both of these teams. McMinn hadn't lost to Walker Valley. They're 13-0 against the Mustangs, but Walker Valley, as we mentioned, been up and down. They played great. They played not great. So, I think both of these teams are wanting a win, and they're going to come and play hard. It just is going to depend on who makes the least mistakes, who can put points on the board. Walker Valley struggled with that a little bit this year. So, I think it's a huge game for both of these teams.
Yeah. So we mentioned Walker Valley. A win would completely turn around their season. They are traveling to McMinn County tomorrow night at 7:30. You can listen to it on 99.1 The Fiesta. Winner is the Region 4 5A champion. So a lot of exciting games in our area, a lot of exciting games everywhere in Tennessee this week. I mean, we're talking about the region matchups and the scenarios for our local regions, but that's going on everywhere. So just an exciting time in high school football. We're on week 9. It's hard to believe. Talking about 9, we have 9 games this week, and after this break, we're going to come back and pick them. We're also going to talk about our picks from last week, which, nobody's gone perfect yet. Hate to spoil that, but eventually I think it has to happen. This week, I'm with it. But we're going to make our picks after this quick break. You're watching the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights, driven by Mountain View Nissan. We will be right back.
From Lookout Mountain to Cleveland, from Red Bank to Collegedale, luxury lives here.
Chattanooga Auto Square is your home for premium luxury automobiles.
And we have the largest selection in all of Chattanooga of pre-owned vehicles from every major brand.
Chattanooga Auto Square, Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Infiniti.
Luxury lives here.
The ability to try a criminal case in front of a jury is one of the most important skills a lawyer can have. Make sure you hire a lawyer that can do it. The law offices of Stephen Hatchett are here for your criminal needs in Athens, Cleveland, and surrounding areas. Contact their offices at 423-290-7698 or message them at facebook.com/Hatchett Law.
L&B Appliance is your one-stop appliance shop and HVAC dealer. Locally owned and operated, serving this area for over 30 years. They offer sales and service. L&B Appliance, located on Durkee Road at Highway 64 in Cleveland. 423-339-3231. L&B Appliance, large enough to meet all your home appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
Anna, can you count to 5 without saying 1 or 3?
Sure, 2, 4, 5.
That's right. Our big story is the 2 for $5 breakfast deal at Hardee's.
You got me.
I know, I did.
Bite into our made-from-scratch biscuits today.
This is Thomas Williams with Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. Stop by today and take advantage of Bradley County's largest pre-owned inventory, or visit cleveland-nissan.com, home of the lifetime warranty.
back to the MixedTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. I'm Ryan Lovelace, still joined by Derek Morris, Brittany Jackson Tucker, and Drew Linus in spirit has sent in his picks. But first, we're going to talk about our picks from last week. So now that Drew's not here, all three of us had the same picks last week through 8 games. So we all went 6-2. So we all finished in first. So go us. Drew, if you're watching, 5-3. Lonely in last place. Speaking of last place, sorry.
That's me in it.
Brittany, Derek, you guys are tied in last at 49-25. Drew fell off my scorching pace in first place. He sits in second at 52-22, and I'm first, 53-21. But it's a whole new week. Anything can happen. And we're going to start out with our first game, McCallie at Father Ryan tomorrow night, 7 p.m. McCallie 5-2 on the year, coming off a big 20-point win. Meanwhile, Father Ryan 2-6 on the year, coming off a 7-point loss in which they scored 55 points. Derek, I think you should go first this week.
So this reminds me of, as you know, I'm an Oklahoma fan. Their defense a couple years ago, they had to score 60 to win, and Father Ryan did not score 60 to win. So I think McCallie, they had a couple losses, but they're McCallie, and you give up 62 points, McCallie will find a way to score a whole lot of points. So McCallie wins big.
I agree. Even though it's at Father Ryan, they've got to travel, I'm going to go with McCallie.
Yeah, I think I'm going with McCallie as well. And just to round it out, Drew says McCallie is just refueling for a big playoff run and they get the win. Meanwhile, East Hamilton hosting Friendship Christian Academy. East Hamilton, a 4A public school. They're 5-2, 4-0. Meanwhile, Friendship Christian Academy, they are a D2 single A school, but they're ranked first in the state at that division. They are 7-0, 2-0 in region play. Their defense is allowing 6 points per game. They're coming off a big win at Webb, 42-7. Do you think East Hamilton pulls off a little bit of an upset at home?
I mean, this is tough because we've talked about it before where records can be deceiving sometimes. And 7-0 coming in ranked first in D2. But I don't care who you are. You give up 6 points on the year.
Yeah.
I'm going Friendship over East Hamilton.
I can't disagree with that. I know it's a different division, but that's pretty good defense. I don't care who you're playing. If you're only giving up 6 points, I think that Friendship Christian Commanders take it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Friendship Christian Commanders, that's a cool name. I don't think, as you said earlier, they're very friendly to East Hamilton. I think they pull out a big road win. Meanwhile, Drew, he's going with the Hurricanes. He said they get an easy win and continue their dominance. Maybe we're all dumb or he didn't do his research. We will see in a week. Meanwhile, Ray County at Howard. Usually this would be a no-brainer, but both of these teams have one win on the year. Ray County's 1-6. Howard is 1-7. Both of these teams coming in off of losses, and that's obvious. But who gets their second win, Ray County or Howard?
Tough. And it's at Howard, which does make a difference, I think. The fact that Howard has been shut out in 50% of their games, I'm going to say Ray County with a 8-5 score or something like that.
8-5?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just going to make it exciting because it's at Howard, and I think they're going to have home field advantage.
Hustling Tigers?
I'm going with the Tigers.
Hustling Tigers. Not so fast. Ray County, I think they win. I don't know. They're going to win. That's all I got. No score predictions. I don't trust Ray County. And then Drew, he's going with Ray County. He says they finally get win number 2. Moving on, Baylor at Hendersonville. Baylor's coming off their first loss of the year against Prince Avenue Christian from Georgia. They're 6-1. They beat Hendersonville by 6 points last year, but this is a very much improved Baylor team. Meanwhile, Hendersonville, the Commandos. We have the Commanders and now the Commandos. They're coming in off a win against Shelbyville 40-34. They're 3-4 on the year, 1-2 in their region. What are you looking at here?
So I think Baylor is also getting set for the big playoff push. They traveled to a school that we knew nothing about. Mm-hmm. I mean, so they obviously were good. So, but I think Baylor gets right back on track, and the Commandos are going to get beat soundly.
I thought there was a pun.
I was looking for it, but I let it go.
Baylor had a great win. I think it was the week before against McCallie. Mm-hmm. Lost last week. I think they're going to be back on track, refocus. Sometimes when you get a big win like that, you kind of lose focus, and and play down to your, well, I'm not saying play down. I know nothing about Prince Avenue Christian, but I think that Baylor's back on track this week and gets the win.
Yep, I think the Commandos go down. I think Baylor makes a nearly 3-hour trip up there and comes away with a win. Drew also says Baylor bounces back with a dominating win. This is an interesting one coming up next. Polk County at Marion County. This is a region game. Polk County, they are 4-3, 1-2. They had a very hot start to the season, but they have been struggling recently. They've lost 3 straight to Marion County, and it doesn't help their case that it's at Marion County. Meanwhile, Marion County, they are 4-3, 2-1. They're coming off a big, nearly 50-point win at Tellico Plains, and they're on a 3-game win streak. You mentioned earlier, different trajectories here. What are you looking at?
I mean, it's different trajectories, but again, both teams hold their destiny. If Polk County wins, they hold the tiebreaker and pass Marion County. Marion County is trying to make sure they hold that lead and move forward. So I think just the way they've played the last few weeks, you got to go Marion County.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going Marion County. They're on a 3-game win streak. A lot of momentum at home. The Warriors.
Yeah, Marion County Warriors. We got some cool. I'm a big mascot fan. We got Commanders, Commandos, Warriors, but I think Marion County pulls it out at home. They move up in the region standings with a big win over Polk County. Meanwhile, Drew, he says Polk County and the Derek Davis train rolls on. So he's going with Polk County there. Ooltewah Soddy Daisy. This is a fun one. We were talking about it earlier. Ooltewah hosting Soddy Daisy 7:30. Both teams are 1-6 on the year. Both teams coming off 40-plus point losses. Both teams have some crazy offensive stats, but not crazy in a good way. Drew, what are you looking at?
Drew's not here, but
sorry.
Drew
Derek,
would say, yeah, it's all good. So I think Drew did label this the Toilet Bowl, and we went from cool nicknames to the Owls and the Trojans. But either way, listen, I'm just going to go Ooltewah Owls because I think they got better athletes.
Man, I'm just going to go opposite Derek and just say the Trojans.
I mean,
just
I'm in last
because
place.
we got to fight for this last place and move up.
We're not getting intense here. I'm going with Ooltewah. I think they have better athletes, and it's at Ooltewah for what it's worth. So give me the Owls. Drew, sorry. I messed that up.
That's okay.
It's okay. He says everything finally clicks for Ooltewah, and they are on the right side of a Mercy Rule win. So he has Ooltewah big over Soddy Daisy. Now here we go, the big ones. We got 3 big ones. Starting off with Cleveland versus Bearden, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. You can listen to it on Mix 104.1. Region game. We've talked about the scenarios. It's essentially win or go home for Cleveland. If they win, they're in the playoffs most likely. If they lose, they're 100% out. Same thing for Bearden. One of these teams is going to end up on the outside looking in, and this game essentially determines it. So big game over at Raider Drive. They're undefeated since they've moved back to the home side. Do you think that streak continues?
Yeah, I made sure. I don't know about the home side, but it makes a difference. But I do think that Cleveland has momentum. I think they're playing well. I think they ride that. And I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious for all you Office fans. And I think the home side makes a difference. I'm going Cleveland.
Just admit you got a lot of heck last week, and so you're picking Cleveland.
Hey, whatever the reason. Whatever the reason. It's Cleveland.
2 weeks.
You know, Cleveland is coming off a lot of momentum. They did have a bye week. You know, with Bearden beating Bradley. I don't know. I'm not feeling good about the Raiders pulling this one out, even though it is homecoming, and I know my husband is going to kill me. I think I'm going to go Bearden. I'm trying to get out of this last place.
or dig it deeper.
Or dig it deeper, yeah.
You know, I think Cleveland wins this one.
Oh.
Call anybody. This may be the first time I've picked them all year, but give me the Raiders. I think there's some postseason heroes. You know, I think they're going to make a run in the playoffs, starting with a win.
No, you're
to get
kissing
to the
butt
playoffs.
is what you're
I'm
doing.
not kissing butt. No Raiders. They're beating Bearden. Wow. Meanwhile, Drew says Cleveland gets the win, and the Marty Party gets another big region win. All right. Bradley Central and Farragut, another region game. This one big in seeding. 7 p.m. kickoff tomorrow night. You can listen to it on 101.3 The Buzz. Bradley, they are very hurt, coming off a big win over Ooltewah, though. Meanwhile, Farragut, they are rolling this year. They're coming off a win against Hardin Valley. You know, it's a win-you're-in scenario, but both these teams most likely to go to the playoffs. It has a lot to do with seeding and home field advantage. What are you looking at with this one?
Listen, I think Damon Floyd has done maybe the best job he's ever done as far as keeping this team together, going 6-1. At some point, though, you just don't have enough ammunition. And I think Bradley, with all their injuries, I think Farragut handles them.
I disagree with him, of course. I mean, I've got to disagree with him. So I'm going to, it is, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great game. Bradley is very hurt. But I think they're going to get it together, and people are going to step up that need to step up, and we're going to get a win.
Yeah. Yeah, I disagree. I think Fair gets a big win.
I'm going to fall really deep into this.
You're either going
or going
you're
up.
going deep or you're going to first.
Right.
But I'm taking Farragut. I think they are a very, very good football team, very fundamentally sound. I think they beat Bradley at home, and I think Farragut wins pretty big. If we're being honest, I just think the injuries for Bradley is too much to overcome. Yep. Meanwhile, Drew says Bradley wins a close game. Lastly, our big one. I wouldn't make you guess who Drew picks here, but Walker Valley at McMinn County Region Championship game. Winner wins Region 4 5A. Walker Valley 3-4 on the year. Meanwhile, McMinn County 5-2. McMinn County's won 5 in a row. Walker Valley, they've won 1 in a row, but it's something for the Stangs. Big game tomorrow night, 7:30 at McMinn County. You can listen to it on 99.1. What are you looking at? Who wins this region?
So they both hold their own destiny again. Walker Valley's so up and down. McMinn County's been playing great. If you remember a few weeks ago, I said I picked Walker Valley and said if they lose this game, I'm not picking them again. They lost that game, so I can't pick them. McMinn County.
We're agreeing this time. I think that, it being at McMinn, I think it is going to be a good game. Both teams, needing this win. But I think McMinn County pulls it out. They're on a win streak, 3 games in a row. They've got a lot more momentum than Walker Valley. I'm going Cherokees.
Well, I'm going to read Drew's pick because I'm still thinking here. He says Walker Valley gets their first win ever over McMinn, and it's a big one because it more than likely wraps up our first ever region championship title, ! So he is going with the Stangs. Yeah, no, I'm going with McMinn County. I thought about it there, but I think McMinn County is going to be too much for Walker Valley to overcome. Plus, it's up in Athens, so, big home field advantage there. We have 9 great games. I mentioned you can listen to them. Cleveland and Bradley start at 7 o'clock each. Cleveland's on 104.1, Bradley's on 101.3, and Walker Valley is on 99.1 with a 7:30 kickoff. 9 great games I mentioned. Go out, watch some high school football. It's a great week. Playoffs are coming up, and we're all excited. This has been the MixTV.tv High School Football Thursday nights driven by Mountain View Nissan. From all of us here at the station, Austin Chadwick producing, Gideon Ratcliffe on camera, Derek Morris, Brittany Jackson Tucker, Drew Linus, wherever he's at. I'm Ryan Lovelace. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you next week.